I want to take a quick second before you watch this video and just say, I know it's a little long, but I wanted this explanation put out there as to why I'm called DogTag. So I apologize for the length. I know that some of you don't like watching long videos, but it's worth hearing the story, and please share the story. Thank you very much. Well, hello from Virginia. This is DogTag. Just wanted to do another video, kind of update you where I'm at and how close we're getting. It's January 17th, 2025. I step off on the trail on February 16th, so I'm 30 days away from starting an adventure of a lifetime. Wanted to take a few minutes to explain why I've taken the trail name of DogTag. As with most people who hike the AT, they often get asked, why are you hiking the AT? And it has been a lifelong interest for me since 1990-ish, when I was stationed here in Virginia and I worked with a Boy Scout troop. We did summer trips, bicycle trips on the C&O Canal towpath. 184 miles of bike riding that goes from West Virginia to DC, and you go through West Virginia, Maryland, and then ultimately end up in DC. While I was on that first bike trip, we came across a few thru hikers, found out that part of the AT actually overlaps the C&O Canal for about 4 or 5 miles just north of Harper's Ferry. Became interested as a lifelong, well, I had done a lot of backpacking throughout my life. Scouting introduced it to me. We did the Grand Canyon several times, hiked up in the Sierra Nevadas. Ultimate trip was Mount Whitney, summiting Mount Whitney the year I graduated from high school. Also did a couple trips up into the Uinta Mountains in Utah, hiked the Zion Narrows in southern Utah. Just really enjoyed backpacking. And when I met these thru hikers and they talked about this trail that goes from Georgia to Maine, it became an interest. The following year, I took a group of older boys from the scout troop and we did the 4 states of Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia. Kind of really fell in love with the trail, but at the time I knew I wasn't going to be able to do a through hike. So years later, last Easter, we were sitting at the dinner table or around the table, and the family was talking about bucket list items. And one of my kids asked me, "Dad, what's your bucket list item?" Well, of course, I told him I wanted to hike the AT, and my kids didn't know what the AT was, and they proceeded to ask me, "Well, what's the AT, Dad?" And I said, "Well, it's a trail that goes from Georgia to Maine." They go, "How far is that?" And I go, "It's 2,200 miles. And Zach, a.k.a. Bubba, he's my second youngest, he goes, "Dad, that's like walking to Vegas from here." And I go, "Yep, that's about right, Zach. Vegas from here is 2,300 miles. It'd be like walking to Vegas." And of course, they all thought that I was nuts. My nephews, thought I was crazy. And so my wife was sitting off to the side and she kind of said, "Well, why don't you do it?" And of course, most of you, or some of you may not all know, but I've adopted 6 kids. We have 7 in our family. Jamie is Candy's biological son. And then I've adopted 6 kids. They range from age 23 to Anakin, who just turned 8. Never thought I'd be able to do the AT as long as I had kids at home. And the wife looked at me and says, "Well, if that's what you want to do, do it." And so the seed was set. And so I said, "Okay, then I'm going to do it." Well, in May is Trail Days, and I decided to go to Trail Days, see if I could meet some other thru hikers, get as much information. Part of doing the AT is prep work. As being a scout and a scouter, the scout motto being prepared. I wanted to try to be as prepared for this trip as possible. So I went to the trail days, and in Damascus, Virginia, there is a beautiful military memorial garden right there by where the trail goes through Damascus. And I was sitting there just kind of enjoying the nice quiet, because right behind it there's a nice stream that runs by and you can hear the water running, and I was just enjoying the moment. At the time I was wearing a red shirt that had the VMI logo. Savannah had given me this shirt. It was her graduating class at VMI was class of 22. So I had this shirt that had a big 22 on the back of it. And I had a guy walk up to me and he goes, "Hey, are you with the 22 Foundation?" And I go, "No, why?" And he goes, "Oh, I saw the 22 on your back. Thought you might be with the 22 Foundation." I go, "No." I said, "Why do you ask?" And he goes, "Well, you know, I'm a veteran. I'd planned to kill myself. I reached out for help, got in touch with the 22 Foundation, and through their help, they encouraged me to step out onto the AT and see if I could find some healing by walking the Appalachian Trail." Well, that's what he was doing, and he says it's been a big help to him, and of course, it kind of set another seed in my head, that how can I bring attention to this problem? Because at the time, I was aware, but I wasn't totally aware of what it meant when they said 22 a day. We are losing an average of 22 veterans a day to suicide. Now, if you include what I've added to it, our first responders. Those of you that don't know, I'm a retired firefighter paramedic from Las Vegas. While working for Vegas, in the 20 years I was there, we had 2 young firefighters commit suicide. And then after my retirement, they had 2 additional firefighters kill themselves from suicide. And as I started to do my research, I realized that first responders are getting hit just as much as veterans are with the suicide. So I decided to add it all, and hence that's why there's the little logo on the side of my opening page. The 22 a day veterans and military veterans and first responders. So that's why I started that. And in my research, I came across a guy by the name of the Keeper. He hiked the trail. AT hiked the trail. He's a veteran Army. Now, when he hiked the trail, he carried name tapes. Name tapes, the military name tapes that you wear on your uniform that have your last name on it. Well, he carried 363 of them. It adds an additional 5+ pounds to your backpack. Now, most people would say, why in the heck would you even consider adding 5 extra pounds and then carrying it 2,200 miles? And what it did for him, it saved his life, really, because he had gone out on the trail and had planned to kill himself. He had planned to carry those names out there and then find a secluded place on the trail, and he was going to kill himself. Fortunately, it didn't happen. And I came to know his story, and then I got the opportunity to talk with him on the phone. And I asked him, I said, I want to do the same thing. I want to bring attention to our veteran suicide problem. And I asked him, I said, so, you say that in your video, because he did a podcast and he did a movie, and he says that, he had over 1,200 names that he could have carried, but he only had the money to do 363. And so I asked him, I said, hey, would you be interested in letting me carry some of your names that you collected? And he goes, well, Rob, there's enough names out there for everybody. He says, you can go and collect your own names and do the same. And so instead of doing name tapes, those of you that know me know I laser engrave, and I found that I could laser engrave military dog tags similar to this. These are the tags here. Now, these are just some of the ones that I've started to collect. They're different colors for different agencies or different purposes. And you've all seen a picture of one. It has the name of the individual, what his title or rank was, what organization he was part of, and then the day they succumbed to their demons. So I've been working on that, and with that, somebody suggested, there have been a couple names suggested, trail names suggested to me, one being the Torch, being a firefighter, and the fact that George, the keeper, has passed his torch to me to continue to bring attention to the veteran suicide problem. Well, then somebody suggested, well, you're carrying dog tags. Well, why don't you just call yourself DogTag? And so for right now, that's the name I'm going to take, is DogTag, and it's because I'm going to be carrying dog tags while I'm on the AT. Ultimately, I'd love to carry at least 222 dog tags. So if you know of anybody that has a family member that committed suicide, that was either a veteran or a first responder of any sort, I would be honored to carry their name on the trail with me. I would ask you to email me or reach out to me on Messenger. I will produce the dog tags on my own, and then I will carry them with me on my backpack. The idea is that everybody not everybody. When people walk the AT, it becomes a social experience. I mean, you'll talk to lots of people. You'll talk to thru hikers. You'll talk to day hikers. You'll talk to a lot of people. And in my prep over the last 10 months, I've hiked several sections of the AT. And every time I've hiked the AT, of course, I had my veteran hat on. And, people would ask, oh, you were in the military, what branch, And so it opens up a conversation. And then you start having a conversation with the person. Well, I would think, just as it did for the keeper, it would open up a conversation to talk about, why am I crazy enough to carry all this extra weight on my backpack, 2,200 miles? And it's to bring attention to our veteran suicide. And it's a problem that I don't think will ever be completely fixed, but we surely need to lower the numbers. 22 a day, and if you add the first responders in there, I would bet that we're way higher than that. Let's get out there together as a community, and we need not to forget these veterans. The stories that I've heard from some of the families that have reached out to me, where their children or family member went to the VA asking for help and they get pushed away. One was told, get sober and then come back and we'll help you. Well, when I was a paramedic, if anybody threatened to hurt themselves, of course, they got the immediate 72-hour hold. I hope that that's going to change, that if somebody goes to a VA hospital and says they want to hurt themselves, the first thing they're going to do is say, let us help you. And then they should at least put them, not lock them down, but say, hey, come stay with us for 72 hours. Let's get you some counseling. Let's get you some help. Let's get this process fixed. And so I ask you to take the time. I thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'll do some additional videos before I leave, but I wanted to explain why I'm calling myself DogTag. And please help me share the story. Subscribe, follow me. I'm going to do my best to post videos on a regular basis. At least I'll shoot videos on a daily basis, but they may not get posted until I get into town where I get internet access, or have more power to do my editing process. But if you have any questions, any comments, I'm open. I know I'm not a perfect face for vlogging, but I'm a veteran, and I'm a veteran of both the military and I'm a veteran as a firefighter paramedic. Seen enough, done enough. Now I'm going to do this, and hopefully we can bring attention. So I ask you to look out. If you know somebody that's even thinking about it, get them some help. Get them some help. And I thank you, and I'm going to get back on my trail. I'm out here at one of my favorite places. There's a nice little picnic spot here in the Five Forks. There's a lake behind me, and it's just, the snow's still on the ground here. I've been carrying my gear, carrying this pack By the way, George, aka the keeper, I'm liking the pack. Really comfortable, a lot lighter than the one that I had, and really excited to continue to train with it, because I think I'm going to probably at least start the trail with it until I get to where the summer months. So thank you again for everybody's support. Please subscribe, follow me, and I'd love to have your feedback. And again, if you know any names, please talk to the family. And I know some families like to keep it a secret. They don't, most people don't want to brag that, hey, my son or my daughter or my father or my brother committed suicide. It's a problem that we all need to talk about. So take the time, reach out, and if you don't want me to tell anybody the story of your family member, I'll carry their name, and they will just be carried as in my collection of names, and I won't share any information that you don't want shared. So thanks, and look forward to you, and we'll see you later, alligator.